everyone, it's Meg, and today I'm going to be sharing with you guys some books I wish I had read in school. I have been thinking about to do this video for a while, but I needed to kind of sit down and think and plan, and I've realised over the past few years that there are quite a few books that I have read that I wish I had read during high school or during college or university, that I feel like I would have really related to and meant so much to me. Like, all these books mean so much to me anyway, but they would mean even more to me during my time in education. So I thought I would share these books with you guys today. I have 6 books to talk to you guys about today. It was originally going to be 5, but I finished one yesterday from when I'm filming this that I feel like it's also a very important book that should be on this list. These books kind of vary from high school to university, so if there's kind of something for everybody, no matter what kind of education system you were in. I don't have anything for like middle grade or anything like that, but like high school, college, university are what these books are based around. So I'm going to try and start off the ones where in high school and then move on to the ones that are like sixth form, college, university and all that sort of thing. So without further ado, let's get into the video. First on this list I have The Poet X by Elizabeth Azevedo. This book, to put it in very basic terms, is a coming of age story following our main protagonist Ziamara as she is figuring her way out through high school, through her junior year I believe. This book is about identity, about figuring out who you are, what you want to do, how to fit in life, and I really connected with that part of the story. It's a book where our main protagonist really learns to find her own voice through all the challenges that she faces, such as obviously her family. She doesn't have the most perfect family dynamics, but it is something that is definitely explored and you can see the growth of it throughout the book, as well as the other relationships throughout this book and how Ziamara discovers what she loves to do and holds on to it and knows what brings her to life, what gives her passion, which I absolutely love. And it's also the importance of learning what sets your soul on fire, which I think is very important. And obviously during high school you feel very lost, you don't always know what's going on or what you want to do, but having those certain parts of your life or certain things in your life that bring you so much joy and set so much fire in your soul is something that you really need to learn to hold on to. And I really enjoyed this book. It is written in verse, if you didn't already know that, but I feel like it tugs at your heartstrings, and it is a very emotional book as well. It destroys you in all the best ways possible, but Ziamara was definitely a character I could really relate to, and I feel like, again, this is a great book to read if you are in high school, especially if you're kind of feeling a bit lost with your identity and other aspects of your life as well. Really 100% recommend this whether you are in school or not. Next up, I have a book on this list that I've only added this morning because I finished it last night, and that is Diary of a Confused Feminist by Kate Weston. This is an ARC that I got, and I'm sure this book is probably going to be out when this video is up, but I didn't really know much about this book. But basically it is about a girl named Kat, and she is just starting her final year of school. She is in year 11, and it is basically her navigating her path in life and her final year of high school. And this book, I describe this book as a cross between Angus Thongs and Perfect Snogging and Miranda. So like, that is enough to know that I could pick this book up. And this is such an amazing book with so many important topics. Obviously, if you can't guess by the title, one of the main topics of this book is feminism and what it means to be a feminist, and what it means to be a woman, as that is something that Kat is still trying to figure out, as she feels very left out in school. She still feels like she's a child compared to all her friends who have boyfriends and everybody else in her school as well. And this also kind of tackles, I wouldn't say it tackles academic pressure a lot, but kind of that sort of self-belief thing as well. And this also covers things such as social media, which is a huge influence on teenagers in the 21st century. It talks about like Instagram and bloggers and influencers and how that affects us and our inner dialogue and how we see ourselves. We think that they have the perfect lives, even though they don't in real life. They just show us the best parts of their life. They only show us certain aspects of it. And it also covers the topic of mental health, and I really liked how it was portrayed in this book, how the anxiety representation was amazing, and the aspect of therapy and how that was portrayed in this book I really enjoyed as well. And I feel like that is something very important to talk about, especially in young people and teenagers. Mental health is something that's very important and is being talked about more, which is amazing. And of course, I love the family dynamics in here and the friendship group. Kat has so much support around her, even though she doesn't always realise it or she doesn't think it. I love how much support, whether it's dealing with her mental health or other aspects of her life. Her friends and her family are always there for her, which I absolutely love, and I love seeing such a positive portrayal in a YA novel. So overall, this is just a wonderful book. I feel like my 16-year-old self would have adored this book even more if I had read it back then. And I feel like this is a book, if you are in high school, I 100% please go and pick it up. I think it is so important. It's very funny and a bit fluffy towards the beginning, but then by the end it takes a little bit of a harder hit. Kind of gives me Eliza and a Monster vibes in that sort of sense of kind of how the book progresses. If you are into that, then you may want to think about picking this book up. But like I said, overall, a fantastic book. It's probably one of my favourites on this list to recommend to you guys. So definitely go and pick this up. Whether, like I said, whether you are in school or not, I think it's a very important read for teenage girls and anybody else who wants to read it. So I think this is a very important read that a lot of people should read. Next up, we have The Inexplicable Logic of My Life by Benjamin Illyri Sands. This is a book that basically follows our main character Sal, who is in his final year of high school, and he is feeling very lost. He doesn't know what to do with his life. It's kind of taken a direction he wasn't expecting, and he's just basically trying to figure out who he is. This book came to me at just the right time. I was feeling very lost. I wasn't in high school when I read this. I read this when I had just finished university, but because it is basically a book about being lost and about trying to find yourself again was why I related to it so much. And I feel like, again, it's a book for people if you are in school, because, or especially any form of education, I guess, because it's about what to do, how to figure out that next chapter, how to take that next step in life. And it also teaches you the importance of family and friendship through difficult times like this, how important they are, whether you need to talk to them or to just be there for you. It really shows the true importance and the power of having those deep connections. So I'm really glad that I ended up reading this book. It came to me just at the right time, and I hope that if any of you guys decide to pick it up, that it will really inspire you and it will be a book that you can connect with as well. Next up, I have Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. This is kind of the middle range now between university and school, as this book takes place where our main character, Frances, is in sixth form, which is college, so she is 18 years old. If you are from America, then I guess you would still be in high school, but obviously in the UK, you 17 to 18, you are in college or sixth form. And one of the main topics that this book discusses is about the academic pressure and pressure that society puts on young people to go to a university, to get good grades, to get a good job, to raise a family and have a good life. It's kind of learning about breaking the norm of those typical status or path that has been set out for us. Frances puts a lot of pressure on herself when it comes to getting good grades, as she is in the process throughout this book of writing essays and writing acceptance letters so she can get into university, and it also takes you through the process of her interviews as well, of going to uni. And she is very hard on herself, like I said. She's very much an academic. She is constantly working. If she is not at school, she is head girl. She wants to get good grades. She wants to go to Cambridge or Oxford. She wants to go to one of the big schools in London. And throughout this book she kind of realises that what she is applying to study at university she doesn't actually enjoy that much, and she doesn't have any passion for it, as because she has been working so hard to get good grades and to be a good student and to be a good daughter, that she has lost the root of what she truly loves. And even though in these days it is told that you can't make money from something that you love, that is absolutely not true, and she is going for the more practical route instead of what she truly enjoys and what her heart tells her to do. And it also shows the impact of what the education system and also what this ideal situation and this path that is put out for young people these days, how it affects their mental health and how it just affects their lives in general. And even though education is very important, it is also even more important to not let your mental health suffer because of your education, as at the end of the day education is important but your mental health always comes first. And I really like the message throughout this book as well. But I feel like this is a very good book and a very important book. I don't see many YA books talk about the topic of like the education system and like this path that's set out for us. So I feel like this is a very important book, and I know a lot of people love this book for this particular reason. So obviously this is an amazing book to pick up, and especially if you are at the stage of applying for university, I feel like this is a book you'll especially be able to relate to. Next up we have a book that I read on audio, and that is Again But Better by Christine Riccio. This is a book that came to me at exactly the right time. We are starting to head into kind of the older side of education now, so university, master's degrees and all that jazz. And this, like I said, this book came to me like at exactly the right time. I'm so glad that I ended up picking it up. So this book is basically about a girl named Shane who is doing a semester of studying abroad in London, as she is from America, and she is trying to start again as her original uni experience didn't go to plan. So she's decided to go and study something that she enjoys in a new environment to try and start over again. I feel like this book is about learning to follow your true passion and to know that it is okay to start again if whatever reason an experience from uni didn't work out or you ended up studying something that you didn't enjoy. It's okay to take a step back or maybe go back to university or back to college and study something that you truly enjoy, that you will hopefully be able to make a career out of. And I feel like another message that I got from this book is how far are you willing to go to make sure that you succeed, or that you get the job that you want, you get the life that you want. As in this book, Shane encounters a lot of odds that are against her, especially how, if you have read the story you'll know what I mean, but like her parents aren't supportive of her wanting to take on a creative degree, and other aspects that happen within the book as well, her own self-doubt, and making sure that you put your best foot forward, that you step out of your comfort zone to achieve what you want to achieve, because you are never going to achieve anything sat in your comfort zone, which is something that I am personally still trying to come to terms with. And it also covers the topic which I really look for in a book, is about university and what happens after university, because from personal experience it's pretty damn scary, and especially if you don't have a plan, or depending on the sort of degree that you are studying, it can be really difficult. And that is a topic that I don't really see talked about much in novels, especially young adult, because it tends to be around high school. But this book and the next book that I'm talking about, which is also set at university, I feel like are both books that kind of discuss this topic of what happens after university, and that is something that if you are around that stage in your life, then maybe try and pick this book up or the next one, because I feel like it will really kind of make you feel heard and recognised by reading it. And I guess the last thing in this book is the fact it deals with studying abroad, as Shane goes to study abroad, and it shows the opportunities that you can get from doing that, from internships to going on little travelling holidays at the weekends. There's so much opportunity to travel abroad and study abroad, and if that is something that you are interested in, maybe pick this book up and it might inspire you to actually go and explore and maybe take the plunge and go and study abroad. This is definitely one of my favourite books on this list as well, just for the factor of how much it means to me and the time in my life, and I feel like if I had read this during university I would have loved it even more. And last but by no means least, we have The Secret Diary of Lizzie Bennet by Bernie Sue and Kate Rorick. This is definitely the oldest side of YA, or kind of the academic system, I guess, as Lizzie is around in her mid 20s, she's maybe 23, 24, something along those lines, and she is doing a master's degree, I believe. She's already been to university and I think your master's comes after that, so that is kind of the age range that she is doing. And again, this was a book that I felt like I could also personally relate to, especially around the time that I read it. Obviously, if you hadn't already clicked, this is a Pride and Prejudice retelling, but a modern day retelling, where the Bennet sisters, obviously it is in modern day society, so the Bennet sisters are independent women. The marriage is not their only goal in life. It is probably the least of their worries actually, even though it is definitely something that is always on their mother's mind. And they have a lot more rights and a lot more privileges than they would have done at the time that the original book was written. So we get to see what they would be like in the modern day world, which I absolutely love about this book. Again, this is a book that deals with the what happens after university question, and Lizzie, you can really get to see how vulnerable and how not afraid but kind of unsure Lizzie is and lost she is, because she's been working so hard on her degree and all of a sudden it is coming towards graduation and she doesn't know what to do, and she's trying to figure out, and she's scared about that. She doesn't know what is going to happen, what she's going to do, especially for her financial status as well, since her family is not very wealthy at all. And you get to see a vulnerable side of Lizzie, which I really enjoy, as I don't feel like you see that as much in the original novel, but I feel like the characters are even more 3D in this book, which is another reason why I love it. And I guess the same, like Again But Better, it talks about the fears and the anxieties of an uncertain future and making discoveries about yourself. As Lizzie, we all know Lizzie is quite a stubborn character, and she makes her own opinions without consulting in anybody else, and she learns a lot about herself, and you see her grow throughout this book and come to realizations about a lot of things, obviously about the situations, about certain people like Darcy, and it's amazing to see her grow so much as a character and to have evolved and be so fully fledged by the end of this book. And something else that I also related to here is that it talks about the challenges of wanting to pursue a career in the creative industry, as generally trying to pursue a creative career is seen as a negative thing. People say that you can't make money from it, that you will never be able to do it full time, and that is absolutely not true. I do know that. As somebody who's trying to make their way and have a creative career as well, just as Lizzie is doing, it is very difficult and a lot of people tend to be very negative about it, but at the same time it is a career that you can succeed in, you can do extremely well in. There are so many opportunities, and I love the fact that it challenges that and how Lizzie wants to make a success of herself in this creative industry, even though there are lots of odds against her. So again, this is definitely one of my other favourites on this list. I love all of these books, but just for the factor of how much I relate to it, I can definitely relate to this book a lot as well, just for the factor of where I am in my life and when I read it. So again, just like Again But Better, if you were kind of that stage of university or masters or that sort of thing, this is a book that I would 100% recommend, as I feel like you should hopefully be able to relate to it quite a lot. So there you have it, guys. Those are some of the books that I wish I had read when I was at school and college and university. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful. I hope that if you are still in education, that you might pick up one of these books and hopefully it will make you feel heard and understood, and a book that you'll be able to relate to and that can maybe even help you through the challenging times of being through education, because let's be real, it's not always very easy, taking it from personal experience, but these books are absolutely wonderful, and I feel like there's kind of something for everybody from like high school age upwards on the education system. And yes, these are books that mean a lot to me, so I hope if you ever pick any of them up, they will also mean a lot to you as well. Let me know in the comments if you have a book that meant a lot to you during high school or college or any point in the education system, or is there a book that you think I should read that we could add to this list, as I would love to know, as I would love to maybe do a part 2 of this book, this sort of video eventually, once I've read some more books. If you like this video, then please make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more bookish videos from me, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and little bell icon so you'll be noted every time I post a new video. As always, I will leave the links to my social media along with the links to my Goodreads in the description down below for you guys. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you again very soon. Bye!